I'm a cozy gamer. This statement might provoke certain feelings for certain people. Fellow cozy gamers think that that's awesome, and quote unquote real gamers think that it barely counts as gaming. For those of you who don't know what that means, first of all, congrats on touching grass. Second of all, it means that I tend to lean towards games that are more casual or relaxing, like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, or a short hike. Also, I made a video about that one. You should go and watch it. These titles are more focused on creativity or relationships or exploration, with low skill ceilings and little to no stress. Except when I can't get the worst villager imaginable to leave! When I was growing up, I wasn't very confident in my ability to do much of anything, so I would always choose the easy difficulty or least responsibilities in a group when possible. I was very unsure of myself and who I was. I would try to calculate everything to the first degree. I was the kid in high school who had a 20-year plan and a map with everything priced out and accounted for. I was very risk avoidant. I didn't like gambling or blind boxes, or even going to a party where I didn't know almost everyone there. I don't like surprises. I would get a list of all the things I was looking for in a girl and wait until I knew almost everything about them before asking them out, if I even did that. In stat options, I would always choose the guaranteed 2% buff on a hit, then the chance of doubling my damage. I would never use items that don't replenish because I might need them later. I was struggling to make progress in many areas of my life, especially my professional life, because of my lack of confidence and disdain for taking chances. It was in that moment that I played Elden Ring. For those of you who have never heard of Elden Ring, which, let's be real, if you're watching one of my videos, you probably have, but regardless, Elden Ring is a modern open-world action RPG from 2022 developed by From Software, the creators of the Dark Souls trilogy. The basic premise is you are a race called the Tarnished, which was chosen by grace to save the world known as the Lands Between. To do so, you need to collect the pieces of a divine relic called the Elden Ring, which has been broken into shards that are held by various rulers of the world, and once you've collected all of them, you become Elden Lord, and can restore the Lands Between to its former glory. I went into this game almost completely blind. Having never played a game like it in the sense of its difficulty and its genre, I had no clue what to expect. But I was determined to at least give it a fair shot so my friend Solomon could stop recommending it to me. In the game, there are 13 mandatory bosses, and the basic gameplay loop is go through an area, complete a challenge or puzzle, and then fight a big boss. Level up and then move to the next area. Sounds pretty simple, right?
Wrong.
Half the time I couldn't figure out where the heck I was going, and when I did, I couldn't figure out how to kill the boss. There are so many things in this game it just doesn't tell you, or if it does, it's in a pop-up you can just accidentally skip. For example, I didn't have crafting because it's a sold item in the first section of the game by some random guy with a Santa hat. So I just missed it and walked by, because why on earth would a major mechanic be locked behind a random item shop purchase by some bum on the street? There is no indicator. It's just there. It's just there. I also didn't know you could upgrade spirits because it just doesn't tell you unless you've already unlocked it. That's like you're driving down the highway and you end up in a random state. And so you pull over, getting fed up with it, and you pull out an ancient relic given to you by your ancestors called the Road Atlas. Then after you've figured out where you're going, the GPS goes, yeah, that was your turn. Like, gee, maybe you could have told me that before I got 800 miles away from my destination. I also didn't understand the weight system at all, so I went around the entire game as an office chair's sleep paralysis demon and the ghost of Lizzo's past. It's so bad, there are multiple articles and threads explaining it, even getting to the point where Weight AA meetings are hosted on Steam. All that aside, it may sound like I don't like this game, but actually, I love it. It's now one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite. But one thing that you should know is that in Elden Ring there is no difficulty setting. There is no easy mode or hard mode, there is just the game. Everyone plays the same rate of difficulty. Elden Ring is to this day one of the most difficult games I've ever played, and no, not because I didn't understand the mechanics, but because the game itself is almost antithetical to my normal playstyle. I love to pick a plan or a playstyle and stick to it. In Stardew Valley, I've only ever married Haley. In Super Smash Bros., I mained Lucas in all 3 games from my childhood. And in Mario Kart, I would always pick the same character and cart. I love familiarity. The only times where I would ever switch how I play a game is when there's no other option. Like in Super Smash Bros. Melee, I played Roy because Lucas wasn't a character. I hated having to be in an uncomfortable or stressful environment because I didn't trust myself. Why would I spend time on a new character when I already know I like this one? If you don't ever really try, you can't ever really fail. So why would I give anything everything? Elden Ring I knew would be a very stressful and uncomfortable experience for me, which is why I was so opposed to it. But my close friend Solomon was adamant that I should play it. And though resistant, I eventually relented. My journey with Elden Ring was very slow and painful. I died over and over and over again. I really wanted to brute force my way through this game just to roll credits and be done with it. Sentiments like, "Are you kidding me, dude? There's no way you perfect parried that. It's so stupid. Come on, dude. There's no way." Were way more common than I'd like to admit. My poor desk went through it. When you're fighting these bosses, you're throwing yourself at them constantly, trying to learn timing and weaknesses just so you can get a little bit closer to overcoming them. Each boss is very different. The objective is the same, but the route is varied. If you go at every boss with the same summon and the same weapon and the same strategy, you will get stuck. And so I did. Many times. This frustrated me so much. There were so many times I wanted to quit, and so many times I wanted to throw my controller at the closest civilian. But I didn't. Quit, that is. I didn't quit. Sorry, Mom. I have a vivid memory of one of the times I was stuck on a boss, and I couldn't figure out why, until I realized that every time I would get close to beating him, I would get impatient and I would go for sloppy hits like jump attacks in the middle of it and die. I decided that for the first time I was going to swap my strategy and be more patient. So I swapped my gear and playstyle, and I beat that boss in the next 5 attempts. I was ecstatic. That's when it hit me that this isn't just what I do in the game, this is how I live my life. The reason I'm not making more money is because I refuse to change my position or employment. The reason I don't have a girlfriend is because I refuse to ask out a girl or better myself. I was so afraid of changing, I'd rather slam my head against a wall doing the same thing over again than have the possibility of a worse future. I'd rather have the guaranteed mundane now and mundane future than the potentially bad now with the potentially great future. Which is the definition of immaturity, only being able to think of you right now as you are, and not of others or as you might be. As I continued through the game, I was much more liberal with my changes and experimentation. The first half of the game took me a year, and the second half took me a few months. I made so much more progress with a more malleable strategy. I tried new magic and summons and weapons. I even tried using, hear me out, one-time use items. I know, I'd gone mad. When I finally got to the final boss, my gear, strategy, and playstyle was so different it was unrecognizable when compared to me at the beginning. As you've listened to this video, you might have been wondering, has it been worth it? All the uncomfortable situations and the frustration. And to that I say, I applied what I learned to my life, and it's never been better. I quit my full-time job to take a chance on a lower-paid part-time job at a different company, and in 1 year, I had just about doubled my salary. I didn't get a girlfriend, but I went on some great dates, which is further than I'd ever made it before. I started doing public speaking and this YouTube channel, all things I would have never done before. Elden Ring taught me to take risks, to try new things. It showed me myself and forced me to change. It proved to me that all the voices in my head that say you can't or you won't, that say you'll just give up or fall in or you'll never make it, are all liars. Even as I say this now, my brain says, where's the evidence? Prove it. And to that I say, I'm the man who traversed the deadlands of Caelid, who defeated the cult of Lucaria. I can and I will rise to the challenge. I'm diligent and a man of my word. I will not falter, because I'm the tarnished who became Elden Lord. You've reached the end of the video. I just want to say thank you for watching, and if you enjoy this content, maybe stick around. Hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I had a ton of fun making this video and writing this script, and it's been great. Elden Ring has had a massively positive impact on my life, and I want to share that. I'd love to hear if you've had a good or bad experience with Elden Ring, what your relationship with it is, and just share that with me. But once again, thank you and have a good night.